Imagine this. You're hired to protect your colleagues from serious harm. Your literal job is making sure everyone goes home to their families in one piece. But you're given exactly $0 to actually do it. Pretty wild, right? Well, it's one of the most frustrating and, frankly, most dangerous contradictions in the corporate world today. It's an issue that completely undermines the whole concept of keeping employees safe. And honestly, it all comes down to how organizations allocate their resources. Let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the real economics of safety culture. You know, there's this silent killer of safety culture out there, and I think it can be summed up in one devastatingly accurate sentence. Responsible for risk, but given no budget to manage it. This is the daily, grinding reality for so many safety professionals. We tell them, hey, go manage these complex risks, ensure strict compliance, build a phenomenal culture. And then we completely paralyze them by starving the execution. They get all this immense responsibility with absolutely zero financial authority. It's exactly why so many safety cultures just kind of die on the vine before they even take root. You simply cannot mandate safety without funding it.
So let's look at how this builds into a massive, systemic problem for companies that think they are doing enough. Section 1, the big contradiction, where current budgets fail.
A lot of companies are operating under a very dangerous illusion of safety. If you peek at their financial spreadsheets, you'll usually see they're only funding a standard 2-item safety budget. We're talking PPE, your hard hats, high-vis vests, safety glasses, and basic training requirements. Why just those two? Well, because they're the absolute bare minimum required to pass a basic legal check and keep regulators off their backs. They hand this tiny, heavily restricted budget to a safety officer and basically say, good luck, keep everyone safe. But by limiting spending to just PPE and a few mandated training videos, leadership is completely ignoring the vast majority of what actually goes into daily risk management.
I mean, think about it. What about the cost of actually closing incidents? Let's say a routine audit reveals a faulty machine guard on the assembly line, or maybe a forklift accidentally dents a critical structural rack in the warehouse. How exactly are you supposed to investigate that incident? Repair the rack, or, I don't know, buy an emergency spill kit with $0? You can't pay for welding or structural fixes with leftover hard hats. Real corrective action, the kind that actually prevents a catastrophic accident next week, requires real money today. Without a dedicated budget, those identified hazards, they just stay hazardous.
And without a contingency budget for unforeseen breakdowns, safety officers are forced into this endless, agonizing cycle. First, an eagle-eyed worker identifies a legitimate safety hazard. Awesome. But second, the safety officer realizes there's no money available to fix it today because, well, it wasn't planned for in the annual budget. Third, they're forced to utter the absolute most dangerous words in the safety industry, "We'll do it next month." And as we all know, next month never comes. The hazard just sits there on the factory floor waiting to cause an incident. Meanwhile, workers walk past it every day, slowly learning that reporting hazards is kind of pointless because management won't pay to fix them anyway.
Now, this isn't just about broken machines and delayed repairs. Let's move to Section 2, the human cost. How budgets build culture. This lack of financial support directly impacts the very people volunteering to keep your team safe. An unfunded safety committee is basically just a group of employees who are piled with extra duties, things like conducting monthly inspections or leading early morning toolbox talks with absolutely zero additional compensation or resources. Unsurprisingly, they end up completely demoralized and exhausted. Now contrast that with a respected safety committee. You don't need millions of dollars to build a great culture. Sometimes, just providing basic meeting snacks like coffee and donuts or hosting small, low-cost recognition events is literally all it takes to make a team feel highly valued. Slapping people with more work and zero tangible appreciation just kills participation. But spending a few dollars on respect, that yields incredible engagement. Okay, so it's time to move toward a lasting solution. Section 3, expanding the pie. The 6-part real safety budget. A genuine, effective safety budget takes that old 2-item mindset and tosses it out, replacing it with a dynamic 6-part framework. Let's break it down. Number 1 is compliance, which covers your legally required audits and certifications. Number 2 is corrective action, meaning actual dollars are put aside to fix the findings from those audits. Number 3 is a contingency fund, specifically saved for unforeseen emergencies and sudden breakdowns. Number 4 is training that builds real applicable competence, not just ticking a legal box to say someone watched a video for 10 minutes. Number 5 is engagement, covering those crucial team-building elements and meeting refreshments we just talked about. And finally, number 6 is a culture budget, dedicated to meaningful campaigns and safety incentives that actually motivate the workforce. The absolute truth here is that risk management without funding is honestly nothing more than wishful thinking. With a budget, safety professionals can act fast. If there's a sudden hazard, they have the immediate resources to eliminate it before anyone gets hurt. But without a budget, safety officers are completely defanged. They're reduced to just logging complaints on the clipboard, basically becoming professional problem reporters instead of problem solvers. The psychological difference between being empowered to fix an issue versus just adding it to some never-ending waitlist, it's monumental for a safety professional's morale and overall effectiveness.
But outlining the budget is really only half the battle. Let's look at Section 4, Planning for Prevention, involving the safety officer.
Ask yourself this: who understands the risks best in your entire organization? Who knows exactly which machines are failing, where the near misses keep happening, and what the frontline workers are actually the most worried about? It's the safety officer. They understand the company's vulnerabilities intimately. Because of this unique cross-departmental vantage point, they absolutely must be in the room with the finance department when the annual budget is being built. If finance is making safety budget decisions in a vacuum, they're inevitably going to cut the very lifelines that the workforce relies on. We have got to stop operating under the old way, which is treating safety officers like glorified invoice approvers, blindly handing them stacks of receipts for hard hats and safety glasses after the fact. The new way requires active, strategic collaboration. Finance and executive leadership need to sit down directly with safety professionals and ask the tough, proactive questions. Hey, what do we actually need this year to prevent incidents? And what exactly will it cost to permanently fix the audit findings from last year? It's a massive shift from viewing safety as just a reactive expense to treating it as a true strategic operational investment. Look, treating safety as an annoying expense guarantees a very predictable and deeply dangerous cascade. When there is no budget, there is no action. When there is no action, there is no improvement whatsoever in the working conditions. And when workplace risks are left wide open, allowed to normalize day after day, incidents happen. It is just a matter of time. The cost of doing nothing eventually catches up with you. You really cannot cheat the laws of probability when hazards are left unaddressed just because of tight purse strings.
So the crucial takeaway from this explainer is a pretty stark financial reality. The cost of an incident will always be higher than the cost of prevention. Paying upfront for a machine guard or a spill kit is infinitely cheaper than paying for devastating medical costs, massive legal fees, immense operational downtime, and permanent reputational ruin. A minor upfront investment avoids a major downstream catastrophe. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Are you actually funding a culture of safety to protect your people, or are you just funding the illusion of safety until your luck finally runs out?